All right, stripper, science, conspiracies, spiritual portals. Let's talk about it. Let's get weird. This morning, I have this fantastic outfit on, right? Do you love my beautiful background? Welcome. So, yeah, let's get weird. It's fun. Break it up from just ripping into people. Of course, I was gonna let the Christian influencers go first as much as possible. Now, gave a little bit of attention to a couple other characters, but no surprise to me, the female Christian influencer who I assumed would be the most butthurt. I assumed that she and her Cocker Spaniel of a husband would be the most angry and outraged and upset that they would send people to leave. I'm going to say not even rude all, comments that didn't make any sense. So I did take them down. I saved them. I screenshot them. But I'm not surprised. That one in particular. I'm not even going to say her name again. Because at this point, I think she just wants attention. I gave you attention. You're welcome. Egotistical. I think it's trying to get me to just look obsessed with her. Like, at this point, because I think I said plenty. I said enough. You know, she can defend it if she feels like it. Or one of her people can defend it in a video. Maybe that would be something I could respond to, but even that, probably not. I don't have that much time. I'm not focused on one person. I don't even focus. If I was going to be focused on one specific person, it would be myself. Like, hear me out. I don't even focus 100% on myself, because if I did, I would go about my whole life a very different way. I focus on whatever the objective is at any given moment based on how I sense the Holy Spirit is actually calling me to move. And if I have human error along the way where I screw up or, you know, take something too far or don't take something far enough, I think God forgives that. But ultimately, I swear on my soul, I really do what the man says. So pray on it. I don't know. Don't take my word for it. I'm the fucking devil. You don't want to take my word for it. Do not. And even if I was Mother Mary, I would still tell you, pray on it. Ask God. Don't ever just roll with what you hear another person say. Even if you love them, right? So even if it's me, I say this to people when I give them advice. When they ask for advice, I go, hey, don't just take my word for it. Pray on it. But this is what I think. I'm praying about it right now, and this is what I think you should probably do. Hopefully, a lot of people take that advice. I think a lot do, actually. I think a lot do. So that's great. So yes, let's talk conspiracies. Well, first, in relation to last night. So it was funny to me. We had a couple of guys that were from Dubai when I first came in. Now, I don't care where people are from, and I understand the customs and behaviors are different everywhere, but one of these guys, he wanted to dance, and he was too inappropriate. He was too much. So I made a joke halfway through the dance. Ladies, I don't ever want to hear it. Listen, if Jesus is on your team, I don't ever want to hear, I was scared. At this stage of the game, if Jesus is on your side and you're fully obeying him and somebody's doing something that's really wrong, trust me, that situation is going to work out for you and it's going to be fun. So I was trying to give this man a dance and he was doing way too much. And I turned around and I said, hey, I go, you want mommy to turn into daddy halfway through your dance? Because we can do that. We can do that. And he was like, no, mommy, stay mommy. I'm like, okay, cool. But he thought it was funny. Men are not like women. Well, some are. Spoken about a couple of those on here before, but not going to give them any attention again. So yeah, men actually do like it a little bit when you mean to them. Not all, but a lot. And not always, but sometimes. So, like, for example, in general, the Indian customers, they all want to fuck, marry, and kill me. All. In general, they like it. A lot of them, when I'm mean and funny, they like it. So even when they try to antagonize me, sometimes I have to remember that they're doing it because it's entertaining to them to watch me react to it. A female would not do that. A woman would not enjoy having a woman be rude to her. It's just not how we roll. But the guys, yes, they do. Absolutely. And as long as you're skillful in your delivery, I don't care if that man barely speaks English. I don't care where he's from. He will laugh. He will laugh. Even if he's kind of a scumbag, they'll usually think it's funny. If they don't, that's a bad boy. That's a bad boy. And you know when you meet those guys because they come into the place pissed off. And when I say the place, I mean anywhere. Anywhere. The only women that they get along with are the women who are extremely flirtatious, like right off the rip, and give them an unusual, bizarre amount of instantaneous attention and flattery. Some of these men have been able to access that quite a bit because they're certain height, certain wealth bracket, handsome, athletic, you name it. Others, that's never been in the cards for them, and that's where true incels are born, actually. In fact, I'm going to say this. Some people have such horrible personalities that even despite wealth, even despite being extremely attractive, or even extremely talented, they still do not receive ideal treatment because their personalities are horrible. I mean, yeah, sorry guys, hate to break it to everyone. Your personality matters. It does. So yes, personalities absolutely matter. And it's historically accurate to say that even though women are not leaders, they can be very inspiring. And they can even do that by being a combination of entertaining and kind of scary, tell you the truth. But it's not the typical scary. And it's not obsessive. It doesn't give too much attention to one particular person. And those women also understand that they don't spend too much time. They got to learn this. I did. You don't spend too much time beating up on another girl. And it's not because girls rule and boys drool. Actually, quite the opposite. It's because if she's worth beating up on in the first place, whether it's to teach her a lesson, make her an example of her, whatever, should it be God's will? If she's worthy of beating up on in the first place, it's because she's a dipshit and she thought she was something special. So then once you're done, putting her into her 10th cry of the week, because she normally only cries 5 times a week. The week she deals with you, she cries 10. Put her back into the hands of the boys from there and let her experience life a little bit. Let her hit the next phase, next level of the video game of being a stupid bitch. For real. Focus on the men. Focus on trying to find the leaders. And leader can mean, person in actual power, right? Or even just young men who look like they're going to be leaders socially to whichever community they're in. Those are the guys you really want to motivate. And the best way to do it is to inspire them by being entertaining and kind of mean. And they actually mimic it. And the truth is, I actually garner a lot of my inspiration from men. So I'm taking it from one guy and then I'm passing it to the next because I don't actually want to be a leader. I just want to entertain people. That's my goal. I hope I save souls along the way. If I save some by being mean, oh well, hopefully I saved more by being nice. And I have been pretty nice, actually. There's been a lot of things that I've done to try to make sure that I wasn't always just going about it the mean and funny way, because that wouldn't be right either. But a lot of the times it actually is appropriate for me to do that. Just when you have the Holy Spirit in you, when you're really working with the Trinity, you know, you feel it when it comes over you. Oh, okay. I guess we're in hell right now. All right. Yeah. Well, welcome. Step into my office. Okay. Or you can feel it when it's time to have fun and time to show that side of your personality. But both ways, your goal is to get people on God's side. Both ways. So take that for what it is. Definitely something I wish more people did, but I can't control it. I can't control other people. It's just not possible. God doesn't even try to control people, so why would I? I give it a chance. I give it a shot. Like I said, whether I'm mean or nice, maybe I try a little bit of both depending on the person and the relationship and the situation. And after a bit, I'm going to move on. I'm going to move on. You know who was extremely entertaining? Who lived not long before Jesus Christ was born, actually. It was Cleopatra. She was not particularly beautiful, by the way. Like, I don't know if you've ever seen photos or sculptures of her. But she was able to seduce and empower her territory. And when I say seduce, I don't know that she was actually necessarily super flirtatious. I think it was much more of what I was just describing. She had a powerful presence. She was very intelligent. At least she was well-rounded and well-versed in many things, in many subjects. And she was just entertaining. She was amusing. So she used that to her advantage. And in doing so, she was able to very much sway some powerful male figures, including Julius Caesar. So, yeah, he was assassinated approximately 40 years before Jesus was born, according to one source at least. So that's kind of interesting. Also, the good guys understand that women like that sometimes do get carried away because they're appropriately left in the dark on certain things because they would flip out. They would snap. I'm one of those women. I actually, it's better I don't know everything. Much better I don't. Because when I do, I want something done about it yesterday. That's my female nature. Can't help it. Working with God, I've gotten a lot better about this. But if we're comparing it to a mythological example, who I've discussed on here before, or I would say historical, I'm sure she was a real person. So Kali, or Kali Ma, the Indian Hindu figure. Some depictions of her, she's black, some she's blue. Who cares? She was a protector, ultimately. She meant to be a protector. And she was extremely powerful, but she was not God. When she realized that the people or the others were doing horrific things, like blood-sucking, vampiric, demonic, horrible things, she snapped and she flipped out and she basically ate everybody, right? So lost her mind. This was Mother Earth, essentially, in my opinion, and not in her highest form. Probably the opposite of that. So, not God. Don't pray to her. but absolutely, I believe, did exist, and very interesting character. I would not say evil, but I wouldn't say nice. So we've got to stop conflating person who's nice all the time, person who never swears, person who's never smoked a cigarette with person who has a good soul and obeys the Holy Spirit. We have to stop conflating these things because it's actually really stupid and not working. We also need to recognize that our perception of human history in general is inaccurate, and even with the best attempts to preserve history, it really can't be done. Human beings don't even remember most things that are 40 years back in their own history, let alone keep accurate accounts of what happened before. Some cultures, though, have done things to try to keep more of their history intact. And they've also tried to do things on the flip side to eliminate the history of other demographics. So, for example, Italian people often will have like 4 last names. Yeah. And you're like, why would you want such an annoying long name? It's actually for a great reason. It's so their history is more difficult to delete. Okay? If you give every child all 4 grandparents' last names, it is much more complicated to erase the history. Right? Does that make sense? It like tracks the lineage better. So that's why when people would become slaves or, you know, be born right into it, they would often really barely even have a name. To be honest, they get their name changed. That's why a lot of African Americans, when they became free, a lot of them chose. You may notice this now once I say it. A lot of them chose the last names of presidents because they needed to come up with something. They wanted a last name. They wanted it to sound professional. They wanted it to sound respectable. They chose the last names of presidents. Very smart. Makes sense to me. But yes, they did lose their history because of that. But we all actually lost our history quite a bit. In my opinion, I don't believe that just because a place is called something, that's actually necessarily the literal place, like the one we're thinking of. Like, so for example, there are certain towns, streets, you name it, where they have a particular name. Often something that you might find even in Egypt or Israel, these old places, right? You'll find parts of the United States, and I'm sure other parts as well, have places that go under these names. So why would this be kind of fascinating and important? Well, for example, the Antichrist was predicted to come out of Egypt. So common sense, most people, even myself, when I initially heard that, that meant that the expectation was that they would come out of Egypt as in Egypt on the African continent. But then I think about it, and I don't know about that. Let's see how many. According to this article, there are 21 places in the world named Egypt. So that's interesting. Plenty of Egypts in the United States. I'm looking at a map of it right now. And that's not even including the streets. There's an Egypt Street in Westerly, Rhode Island, near the Church of Jesus Christ over there. Conveniently, very close to a certain someone who I heard was going to be a certain someone. So we'll see if that comes to fruition. I guess he just needs to come out of Egypt. So come out of Egypt Street, dude. I guess that's the plan. Kind of funny. There's a lot of trickery going on. There's a lot of Mount Vernons. If anybody doesn't know what Mount Vernon is, Mount Vernon is the mount allegedly that the Nephilim or the fallen angels or the watchers or the guardians or whatever you want to call them, good or bad, first landed, I guess, supposedly. That's the legend of Mount Vernon. There's several locations like that. So it's funny, where I work in Boston, it is near the creepiest courtyard. The way that this place is set up, the way that the sculptures are done, the way that the fencing, everything about this location is meant to be spooky. And John Hancock actually had a home there, which is very interesting. And he planted trees that are still there. They're being held together by cinder blocks at this point because they're dead. But they're extremely old. And he was the one who at least made sure they got planted. I don't know that he actually planted them himself, but hopefully you know who John Hancock is. Declaration of Independence. The area, like the surrounding area there, between like the courtyard and the Back Bay train station, they're in an area with a lot of places called Tremont, this or that. So even last night, I was actually waiting for a Lyft driver to get me at one of the Tremont buildings on Tremont Street, right next to the courtyard. Now, Tremont actually means 3 mountains. And kind of interesting. There's no visible mountains at this point anywhere in Boston, but this stuff is on Tremont, and it means 3 mountains. And let me see if I can find what they called these, because this was very interesting to me. I had it somewhere. It's right near Trinity, too, which is in the Back Bay area. But yes, there is a lot of history in the Boston area. It's basically, in my opinion, intended to be a portal. Lots of places are intended to be a portal, but this spot in particular, I believe, is intended to be a portal. And one of those mountains, I can't find it right here, but you can look this up. You'll find something I did earlier. One of these 3 mountains is thought to represent Mount Vernon. Okay? So yes, they at least believe, the powers that be, they at least believe that it is like a portal area. A lot of people believe that strip clubs are portals. I know that when I worked at Mink's Cabaret in Groton, Connecticut, to be very specific, that there was an occasion where people reportedly were so confused because NASA showed up at the strip club. Now, I was baffled by this at the time. I was like, is this because it's near a military base and there was some like mixed signal or something? Like, why would NASA be going to a strip club? Just kind of fascinating, right? So yes, there is definitely a thought that strip clubs, libraries, I've heard, even police departments, schools, a lot of places can technically be a portal, right? And especially if a lot of people are aware of a location and they're thinking of it as a portal and they know that that area has a lot of history, they will attempt, for better or worse, to utilize it in whatever way they can. Can they actually accomplish anything by doing so? Not without God's permission. not without the power of God. You can accomplish nothing without God's permission or his power. I used to even actually believe that somebody could like truly do witchcraft to another person. You know, I actually don't believe that anymore. I believe that God will show you signs that you're being spiritually attacked because you're not praying enough, doing enough to be with him, and you're ready. He feels you're ready to kind of have the veil lifted a little bit and get spiritual yourself. But as far as getting attacked by other people, he's allowing them to feel that control. He's allowing them to feel that sense of accomplishment, but he's in full control of it. Whether it's, you know, an angel or a demon, it works for the Trinity, right? So I don't even know if I buy, like, when people are like, well, they're just demonically oppressed. They are filled with sin and sickness. They are the demon. They're going to hell. Nobody's doing witchcraft and hexing them. I mean, maybe somebody's doing witchcraft on them and hexing them. God is trying to warn them spiritually that they are not in a good spot. That's that. So if you're seeing a lot of weird shit, if you're feeling not great, he's trying to warn you about something. That's that. If I don't care if somebody has a cauldron with a voodoo doll, with a tarot card deck, with a this or a that, I don't care. It doesn't affect me. I don't care if they did every drug in the world and read the literal book from the fucking Hocus Pocus movies. I don't care. I was talking about this with the dancer last night. I was like, do you think people like go and write your name in like burn books when you make funny comments to them that like piss them off? She goes, yeah. And as soon as they write the first letter, she goes, the book incinerates. And I'm like, facts. That would be more likely to actually occur than for some hex they would do to actually work. So again, I'm not saying witchcraft is right. If you're doing things with horrible and malicious intent and you're not repenting and confessing and exposing darkness and you're not being obedient to the Lord, yeah, he's going to let you, you're going to be taking some heat, you know, and you're not going to be able to stand it either. It's going to be way more uncomfortable because the holy fire can be vicious. All right. Vicious. I don't mind it. I love it. But when you first become aware of what it really is and you first start working with it, yeah, it can get a little spooky. It can be a little crazy and be a little intense. I would say a lot of the women I work with, at least, they're not even fazed by it. Like when people come in and try to creep us out or weird us out now, or, you know, just do the most, we're like, just rolling our eyes. And that's even for people outside of the club. We're pretty tough women. And we're actually not all greedy sluts. Actually, we are kind of sick of how greedy and slutty a lot of the non-strippers are. And that's the bone I've been also trying to pick on here. Get it? At least we're getting paid for it. I mean, you guys, I think some girls could actually benefit from working at a strip club. I swear. Just for like a couple of weeks, because clearly male attention is something that's so important to some of you. And when you're young, it's one thing, but once you get up into like your 30s, starts to become a little psychotic. I would say if you're 35 or over and you are still like super excited about male attention incoming, like constant random male attention, just go be a stripper. Go do it. I actually think it might work for some of you. It might actually be very therapeutic. Maybe you will realize that talk is cheap. And that you'll get to see too that these guys ain't picky, so you weren't special in the first place. It's good for you. It's good for you. Really, character building. That's what I love. I love character building. But yeah, stripper science too. I mean, we know how to spot these guys. The ones that we get a vibe. Like we understand too how important it is to go with those intuitions and use our discernment as well as possible. And that's why a lot of the dancers actually don't drink, even if they say that they do. We're pretending. I personally do this. I actually lie. There's not alcohol being poured into my drinks when I work. Sober. So I'm not the only one. This is actually extremely common. I don't know. It's how the club makes money. It is what it is. Works like this many places. Some of the girls drink and it lowers their inhibitions, and the men love it. Obviously, especially the scummy men. But I always advise the younger girls there. I'm like, please try to tone it down, at least with the alcohol and the hard drugs. Let's not do that as much as we possibly can. Yeah, it's kind of fascinating. You learn a lot from working in these places. You learn how to even make quick judgments based on, the entire group dynamics, how that group's acting together, how that couple's acting together. And then you can assess it a little bit further. Sometimes you're wrong, but you get really good at reading people from that industry, and then you apply it elsewhere and it works. It works. So you become kind of a machine when it comes to reading people. It becomes very difficult too, by the way, to hang out with women who are not in that industry. You end up getting to a point where you want guy friends, true guy friends, or other dancers, or women in that industry, I should say, for friends. Everyone else starts to be really annoying because they're delusional. And the other irony is that our job is what? Based around looking halfway decent and making at least a halfway decent living, hopefully, right? We are not actually as shallow or obsessed with money once we've danced typically than prior to. And this is extremely true for myself. I am much less shallow of a person, vain of a person now than I was before I started dancing. And I am much less materialistic. Money is not my master than I was before. I am much less promiscuous now. That would do nothing for me. See, I also have men asking me like they don't already know the fucking answer. Guys, come on. I know you boys know. Why are you celibate? Because I need to be able to intercede. I need to be able to take the heat for a lot of you idiots. Okay? Because you're not actually confessing or repenting yet, some of you. But the good Lord knows that eventually in time, right in the nick of time, right in the nick of time, a lot of you end up actually doing the right thing and getting aboard the flight upwards. But in the meantime, people like me, yeah, we intercede for you as much as we possibly can. And then Jesus helps us out. So yes, that would be why a woman like me has to be clean and clear as possible. All right. With that being said, if the Lord says send it, we shall send it. We don't even mean to. But just like we can take the heat off people spiritually, we can fucking send it. We can send it, and it doesn't even faze us. I hope if your skin's crawling as you hear this, that it's making you want to go say, Jesus, I'm sorry, I'm going to do whatever you say. Jesus, I'm sorry. We watch people have schizophrenic meltdowns on a day-to-day basis. not just in the club, but in our regular lives, because they can't take the heat. They can't take the heat. See, the veil was lifted by human beings lifting it, repeatedly abusing drugs, repeatedly trying to access the spirit realm. So now the bad guys are the most aware of the spirit realm, actually. They're the ones who see, feel, and hear stuff the most often. And when I say bad guys, I also mean bad girls. So they are very uncomfortable, and it is difficult for them to hide that irritability and even fear, honestly, when they come into contact with people like myself. Because I will be friendly. I will be dressed nicely. I will be very polite. And some random person will just look freaked when they see me. I've never had this happen with like a baby or a little kid or a really sweet, nice, kind person who never gives me the heebie-jeebies. They usually stare and make eye contact and smile. With these other people, they are freaking out. They do very bizarre things. They say very bizarre things. So I can tell they're disturbed. Now, some of you will say they just need deliverance. They need to be delivered from themselves. Stop blaming the spirits here, okay? The spirits. We are spirits. They need to be delivered from themselves. They need to clean themselves out. Part of that's physical, not just spiritual. You have a flesh and blood body. It is the devil. It will absorb demonic energy. Period. End of discussion. It is your job to keep it as clean as possible while you're here using it. It's a vehicle. And it's an amazing one too. You're built to be able to clear out. You're built to be able to intercede and absorb for people too. The same flesh and blood that can bring you to sin can also help you create a better world. It's how you use it. It's how you use that vehicle. And no, nobody's particularly advanced, genetically speaking, okay? I heard a shaman lady try to say that I was too skinny to be able to like help people clear out demonic energy. This is before I started praying, but when I was finding out about some of the satanic shit that a lot of people I knew were involved with. So of course, some of those satanic people wanted me to go to a fucking Reiki master. It's more than that, but we'll call it that for the sake of the video. So I'm talking to this woman and she's like, well, you can't do that. It could give you cancer. You're too skinny. Oh, I'm sorry, because being in shape is ever a bad thing? And yes, I can, you fat bitch. If you're watching, I hope you're saved by now. I don't know. My discernment says probably not. Probably not. Idiot. She was a medical nurse, technically speaking, and she actually shared details of our session with one another, with other various people, which is a HIPAA violation, Karen. So yes, Karen, you got a lot of land where you live. Why don't you start jogging it? All right? Before you start telling women who are at the ideal BMI and work out multiple times a week and eat healthy and don't drink, why don't you hit the fucking treadmill today, sis? If you got one, if it's too hot outside for a run, right? Okay. Just saying. You might want to lose the blanket, the shaman blanket you wore at our session. You're already sweating enough. I don't think you need that thing on. Speaking of things that sweat and don't sweat, Karen sweats, the lady I just mentioned quickly. Let me see. She was a real peach. I'm so glad that I went along with that nonsense. Yeah, I don't even have her last name in here. Karen, the psychic lady. Should a dirtbag bitch try to give me an attitude. Oh, I bit my tongue. That was when I was first getting really good at putting up with stuff so that I would just hear more, hear more, hear more. I would not bite my tongue today, Karen, but I don't think you would go within fucking 1,000,000 feet of me. I just don't think so. I do not. So, yeah, the moral of this story, I'm not even gonna get into what I was just about to. It's not even worth it. You need to stop pretending like the devil screwed you over, God screwed you over, people like me screwed you over. Like there's something you can do to even prolong, stop, whatever, even confuse people. I'm not even going to, I'm not God, but I won't even allow that to happen. Hey, Lord, if I really am the devil, send mommy to hell with all the demons that are in her little babies who are just dumb, but they're going to come around right in the nick of time. Can you send all that bad juju over to mama, please? And thank you. I'll be hell itself, right? I know Jesus will bail mommy out at the last second. I'm not worried about it. You do that for me, daddy? All right. Rock and roll. Yeah. And Lord, if there's any of that you would like to send back and return to any of the parties out there who thought that they were going to play God or even play the devil and try to send other people to hell and save their own asses on little technicalities they thought existed. Do what you must. Do what you must. I forgive anybody who wishes me ill for no good reason. I forgive you if you leave a stupid fucking comment that makes no sense or asks for something I already answered the question to. I forgive you if you're one of the people who waits to comment at all until about 1 o'clock in the morning, because that's when whatever you do kicks in and you think I might not see it or be less likely to see it. Babe, I'm a stripper. I got a weird sleep schedule, all right? Stripper moms, weird sleep schedule. So if you're one of those people, no, I don't think nice people are sitting up online waiting till 1, 2 o'clock in the morning to make a comment like that. Just don't. And these people were not foreign, so it's not like they were in some far different time zone. It's deliberate. You guys are losing your fucking minds, and it's your own fault. You thought you were going to beat the system, outplay God, and now you even think you're going to outsmart the devil. No. Unless you got Jesus on your side, never. Never. That will never happen. You won't outsmart your government, ever. I heard some boys saying they would last night. We'll always have the red, white, and blue. Fuck you, it's going to be a pirate flag. Get over it. One world order. One world order. You feel me? This country is a corporation owned by the state of Israel, you fucking idiots. And they own the planet pretty much. Yes, we have wars going on. It's all still one world government. Think of it as businesses. Think of it as social experiments. Think of it as science experiments. Get it? Do you guys get it yet? And you don't win. If you're the common man and you don't have Jesus on your side, you lose. You lose. Israel is God's children. Period. End of discussion. If you want to focus on stupid stuff and not discuss the real stuff, you're a fake minister. You're a fake prophet. You're a scumbag. You're the worst of the fucking worst. If you want to be a member of school departments and law enforcement and not do your job or be a healer or in medicine and not do your job correctly. In fact, do the opposite of your job correctly. Break the fucking law. You're a scumbag. You're a loser. You're going to face horrible consequences for that. So confess and repent or fucking beat it. Cry about it. Die about it. I don't fucking care. I'm here to save the people who I can, who want to be saved. I'm willing to take the heat. I'm willing to be called every name in the book. I don't give a fuck. But keep it relevant. Stick to the facts. And nut up, okay? Don't be a coward. Don't be a coward. Don't make it weird. Don't try to virtue signal. I don't fall for that shit, all right? And I had somebody ask, are you just trying to do this to be relatable? Is that why you're so mean? If you think mean's relatable, then sure. I don't know how relatable I actually am, to tell you the truth. I mean, I consider myself a regular woman, but on the other hand, relatable? Not totally. I mean, I guess I can wear different uniforms and I can get along with various groups of people, and I can also refine myself and not swear and not use certain language if need be. Or I can turn it up. And I can blend right into the fucking ghetto if I need to. Any ghetto. I'm talking about in Iraq, dude. I'm not just talking about in an inner city in the United States. I can do that. Yeah, I can get along with fucking anybody if I want to. It's a gift. It's a gift from God. Relatable? I don't think that's very relatable. I don't think most of you get along even with people who act just like you and look just like you. That's the irony too. A lot of you don't even like each other, but you're all trying to coven up right now. There's more of us than there are of them. It doesn't matter. It doesn't matter. Most people go to hell. Biblical. That's biblical. Most people choose the broad path, not the narrow one. Most people go to hell. It does not matter if you think that that's mean or nice. This is not your creation. You are not your creation. God the Father created you. This is his planet. Hell he created for people who didn't want to be with him. Down in hell, you all get to be Satan and the devil, I promise. Some of you are already there. Anybody's foreheads feeling a little hot today? Those 666s coming in yet? Had some kids, we shouldn't even joke about this. No, we're going to. We're going to joke about whatever the fuck we want to joke about. If something like that scares you, go and fucking report it then, bro. You'll be locked up in a fucking loony bin by the next day. This lady made a joke that 666 marks were going to be burned into our foreheads spiritually. Arrest her. Yeah. Yep. You'll get locked up for being a psychopath, even if the cop agrees with you. Even if he agrees with you, because he's upset about it too. He can't complain about it. He can't arrest anybody for that. Prayer's not illegal. Even if it were witchcraft, that wouldn't be illegal either. It is what it is. It is what it is. Okay? So if you want to go and complain about people like me making jokes because they feel real to you, they seem real to you for some reason, go ahead. You're going to end up in a straitjacket. Make my day. This is why Trump reopened the insane asylums or is in the process of doing so. For people just like you. For cats just like you. I don't even know that it's going to get that far, though. I think his main intent is to turn this whole entire continent, the United States, into a fucking red zone. That's my impression. Just saying. So you have to ask him. You have to ask him. Somebody already did try to ask him, though, and he didn't actually really deny it, which I thought was very funny. He is entertaining. Love him or hate him, the guy is amusing. All right? So God bless you if you'll take the blessing. And if not, go to hell.